So I was started by saying this. We need to understand or overstand what legal cannabis means to me, what my vision is for legal cannabis in Grenada. I'm not sure what anyone else's vision is, but my vision is tailored. Um, so I will give you a couple of things of what my vision is not. My vision is not wanton smoking of weed in Grenada. That's already happening. We're not regulating that, which is sad. That's not what I'm interested in. My vision for cannabis in Grenada legally is that when your children come out of school, that they don't have to go to a hotel and hope to get a job where they're gonna have to do some compromising thing, some morally compromising thing, just to get an extra dollar. My vision is being able to create an economy, a sustainable, renewable economy in Grenada based on a plan, not necessarily based on a plan, but the catalyst will be this plant, wherein our brains that we create in our country, which are very beautiful brains, does not have to leave the island to feel like they're going to be gainfully employed, to feel like they can send their kids to college, to feel like they can go to university or go on vacation. We can do that here with one plant. The reason we could do that with this plant is because this plant can be used to generate energy, which is the biggest elephant in our room when it comes to development of our country. We cannot produce things cheaply if we don't have cheap energy. We cannot produce anything at all if we don't have energy. And right now, we're, I think, the third highest in the world, if not at least in the Caribbean. I know that. We pay more energy than most big countries, which makes no sense. However, we don't generate and create our own energy sources. We don't have fossil fuels. We don't have oil like Trinidad. So for us to produce anything, factories, anything like that, we're going to need somehow to adjust our energy costs, our energy bill. One of the easy way to do that is to plant a tree that will produce energy for you. And in doing so, not just energy, but the material you need to produce textiles out of that, which you can add value to, ship out of your country, sell to people, and make money. Instead of making these raw materials, sending them away, like we've done, God, for so long, and making other people put value to it and send it back to us, which we basically buying our own products. That's my vision for legal weed in Grenada, not smoke. Smoke is for kids.
Understandable. Cameron, you
Right.
have anything to add to what Saisha?
Yeah, well, in terms of the energy, the cannabis itself, doing on my research, I know you have something called ethanol oil, which derive from plants. And in terms of the energy, I think we should be using the cannabis itself to get our oil, because even Brazil uses ethanol oil from corn to have to use as fuel for the vehicles and also. So I figure in terms of Grenada, the corn might be a costly thing, but in cannabis now, which we have all other different produce made from cannabis, could be always a plus, because so much other things they can use that plant to grow to utilize in terms of industrial medicine and any other things that you think cannabis will able to be doing. So I think using the cannabis for the ethanol oil, that could be a 100 plus for we and our economy in terms of energy. The energy is very important.
So
Anything?
I would say that.
there's something called biodiesel.
Mhm,
Biodiesel.
mhm.
Ethanol and all of those things I think might be considered biodiesels because it's basically diesel you can grow instead of pulling it from the ground where you have to destroy the earth. You grow a plant and you can get diesel from it. The seeds in cannabis can be used to make biodiesel. it can also be used to make some of the richest omega-3 fatty acids that we have. As a matter of fact, not just omega-3s, omega-6, 9s, the whole entire complete is contained in one seed, brother. One seed.
Can we repeat that again?
All the omega-3s, all the omegas you need, all the fatty acids you need is contained in one ganja seed. So eating a tablespoon of ganja seeds, you will get your whole entire day's worth of protein and omegas. You wouldn't have to drink cod liver oil and none of that.
Or even eat meat.
Or even eat meat.
So Saisha, how expensive is their cod liver oil? Those capsules.
They're pretty pricey, if I'm not mistaken. When's the last time I even looked? Last time I looked at one of those was when I brought some cannabis seeds to the Seventh-day Adventist church in town, and they didn't know what the cod liver oil was used for. So I had to educate them on what is important in cod, because we think that we drink fish oil just because it's good for your brain, and it is. But why? What in it is it good for our brain? We don't know. We just know it's good for our brain. Well, the thing that in it that's good for your brain is the omega-3 fatty acids. Your brain don't function well without that. Cannabis has that, and you don't have to worry about mercury, pollution, poison, none of that you might find in a fish. You find it in a plant. And eating the seed that does not and cannot get you high, intoxicated, or hallucinate. Just a seed. The same thing can be said for if we wanted to do like concrete, hempcrete. To make hempcrete, all you need is the herds of the stems of the plant, some water, and limestone, hydraulic lime.
Yep.
You mix that in a ransom, and immediately you have concrete that you can pour 12 inches and remove the paneling about 15 minutes later and put another set right on top of that, and it won't warp and misshape and none of that. So you're cutting down your building time in taking about 2/3 of your building time. It's just gone. That's money you just saved. If we didn't have to import concrete, or if we eliminated half the importation of the concrete we use, that's a lot of money. Half the importation on steel and lumber, that's a lot of money. And that's not us making money. That's just us saving money because we didn't have to spend that on things we buy.
Okay.
Even the aggregates too, even the sand and gravel also. We could reduce these kind of things too.
Dependency.
Guys, yeah, we can use that also because just as Saisha say, it's just the hemp, the limestone, and water and the ransom.
Yep.
And
think of it. Right now, we're about to destroy a mountain right in the middle of our city. Right in the middle of our capital city, we're about to destroy a mountain for gravel.
Yeah.
And we could grow weed on the same mountain and build billions of homes over and over and over, and we still have our mountain there. This like baffles my brain. I don't understand why we live in like if we still in the 1500s, like we don't have computers, we haven't read. Like I know we read books, I know that. Well, I'm hoping that we read books.
So somebody put a question there about him.
The regulation in Grenada, it seems like as far as I know, anything that contains any percentage of THC is considered ganja, and you will be in jail for it. Any percentage they can find, they will charge you for it. That's my reading of the law, and I've been told that by a couple of lawyers already. There is a provision in there for medical cannabis, but it's like a catch-22 where you could do it, but you can't do it because The health minister won't sign off, even though the health minister has a right to. They're going to tell you that they can't import it because it's a drug, because it's a drug act. So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. In terms of, like I said, the regulation, as far as I know, any percentage of THC is found in the plant, you will be charged for a controlled substance. That's why I want the whole genome.
Yeah, the whole genome. But in terms of mostly the people that have the regulations but in the other countries, and they basically use the hemp percentage of the THC as 0.3. So that considers something legal in a sense
Yeah,
in the other
anything.
countries.
Yeah, anything over anything over 0.3%, 0.003, as a matter of fact,
Yeah, yeah,
will get you arrested as a controlled substance. Anything 3.003 and below is considered non-hallucinogenic and is considered hemp. They will call that hemp, not cannabis or not ganja, which, because the hallucinogenic properties is so low that even if you combine hundreds of it, you still wouldn't get anything other than a headache. So
yeah, for sure. Um,
Right.
yeah, in terms of Dominica, I see in the news, Dominica looking to decriminalize the marijuana. So not marijuana, but cannabis. So what did you watch the bill or anything like that, or any information about what they
I haven't
looking
gotten
to?
to the I haven't gotten to the bill yet. So far, I've gotten the news, and the news stating that they will decriminalize 28 grams or less. That being said, I'm not really interested in that type of law because that's still only focused on the female part, meaning that's only focused on smoking.
Okay.
This is what I've been trying to say to us as Rasta people in Grenada. I think we need to, when we make demands or requests of the government, we need to be firm in that what we're asking for is not the ability to smoke a plant that we're already smoking. What we would like to see happen is you regulate a behavior that's already happening and legalize behaviors that's not happening that will create and inspire people, one, to get into farming, two, to open up industry, three, to build factories, and four, to produce things with value that we can ship out of here. That's what we are focusing on. That's what we should be telling and asking and speaking to the government about. Not 28 grams or 2 plants. I'm not interested in 28 grams. I don't want 28 grams. I don't want 2 ounces. I don't want a pong. I don't want 5 pong. That's still smoke. There's people bringing in hundreds of pong and weed in Grenada right now, Roger. And weed is illegal. I'm not interested in that. Bringing in more hundreds of pounds or planting hundreds of pounds of weed for people to smoke by itself and alone will not generate the kind of revenue we're looking for, will not generate the kind of economy we're looking for. Yes, it will generate money, but by itself, it will not generate and create a sustainable economy, especially for young people to ply their trade as an engineer, as a technical person. Smoke alone will not do that. Smoke has its place because it's recreation. That's why I said we should regulate it. But focusing on smoking alone, that's a waste of time. We got bigger fish to fry, and it will be easier for us to do it because we're a smaller country.
Yeah. We had a program the other day, and a lady asked in terms of the regulation how we use cannabis in terms of, do you have any input on what type of cannabis you have to use, or the strain itself, or we have to use to get rid of asthma? Because it's up to me, is a epidemic in Grenada in terms of asthma people in Grenada. And for the past, let's say, year or two, a lot of people have been dying for respiratory disease or ailments. So I know for sure cannabis can help in that category. So do you have any inputs in terms of which strain
In,
or what plant we have to use in terms of in terms of children?
it's not in terms of children. So asthma is an inflammatory problem. Your bronchioles get inflamed and they choke you out. CBD is an anti-inflammatory. It doesn't have THC. CBD is most CBD is derived from the male plant, which is the hemp plant again, which produces the seeds for oil and the lumber and all of these different things. That's still just the male. So for someone who is battling asthma, I would recommend them to get pure CBD oil and not CBD oil with THC. Only CBD oil. That can be ingested by drinking, putting in your tea. You can rub it on your feet. There's many different ways to actually take up CBD oils. I would not recommend smoking, only because one, it's smoke. Two, you already have asthma. So doing that may not be in your best interest. I do know of cases where people who had severe asthma before started smoking cannabis, and it has alleviated most of their ailments. So much so, I think the head of the Trinidad cannabis movement is an asthmatic, and when he was younger, I think he had it so bad they thought he was gonna die, and he started smoking weed, and after that, it helped to the point where he can actually be a singer in a band or something like that. But he's a productive citizen. He has a much better quality of life and stuff like that. So again, I'm not recommending smoking, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't work for some people. My recommendation would be get the CBD oil and ingest it whatever way you want to, other than with heat. And especially, I would suggest you don't vape as a person with asthma. Stay away from vaping. Don't vape nothing.
Saisha, let me I want to apologize to the people that are looking for some delay with the comments, but we do have one ambitious AN George that is asking a question, and the question is: have you ever thought about having a meeting with the Prime Minister? Right, to order relevant authorities to discuss their findings and proposal. I do know that a couple of years ago, Saisha, I believe it was the first time I saw you. You were on the TV speaking about making
Having that
changes.
meeting.
Yeah, about having. So what has happened since then?
So it's so funny enough. It seems like the Prime Minister and I paths seem to always diverge right there. So there's times I've actually gone to Happy and sat waiting for him to show up, and this was when I first came, and because I had other things that I had to do that was so important, I couldn't wait long enough because he was late. I even actually I actually went to a funeral. Rasta don't go to funeral, Rasta. I had one a funeral. I didn't go to my grandmother's funeral. I flew to New York to go to a funeral to meet Keith. And still, because he came so late that it was like at the last 15 minutes of the funeral. And right before it finished, he was gone again. We couldn't get to meet him. So yes, long answer short, I have made many efforts to, me personally, even into asking his son I've asked his son to set up a meeting with me. Just give me 15 minutes. All I need is 15 minutes of the Prime Minister's ears, and I'm pretty certain I could bend it, and this can change. However, I'm not getting that opportunity. His associates, I've spoken with many of those people, and almost all of them, to a man and woman, have agreed that the vision is good, the message is good. We should have done something about this a long time ago, but somewhere in between that and the end result, something changes and it doesn't. Nothing happens. I've even actually said to them, "Do me a favor." One of the things that was first brought to me is that the people was not ready for it. In other words, the awareness of the NNP supporters was not up to par in terms of supporting cannabis. And my suggestion was, I will volunteer my time for free, wherever the day is, to go sit down every day for as long as it takes. You bring me people every day, bring 100 every hour, and I'll sit down there every hour for an hour. And by the time I'm finished, I guarantee you, all 100 of those people will support the vision that I'm having, because my vision is not about telling you how to get your child strong on drugs. My vision is about telling you how to actually liberate our people. We don't have to be begging and borrowing nothing from anyone. So yes, I've spoken with many of them. Like I said on the last show, we were supposed to even do one of the radio programs that's, I think, is rumored to be supported by the NNP, and it just never coalesced. And I was asked the reason why, and my only answer that I could come up with is fear. The only thing I can, after taking everything away, the only reason I can see why the law on cannabis has not been changed, why we haven't been more assertive in our expression of we want the law to change, is fear. If somebody has something else, they need to let me know.
All right, that's great.
Romano, how about you? How you plan on getting? I know the last discussion we had, you encourage persons not to use it as it is legal in the state that we are right now. But I know that it has a lot of health benefits and economic benefits as well. How do you plan on getting this acknowledged and represented in our present laws?
Well, first of all, mostly I will try to go to my constituency and representative to try and negotiate with him in terms of the importance of it. I will encourage other people to do the same, to make sure they could know definitely we the people support it. Yeah, it's surveyed by the foundation. I need to show the name of the group, but they did a a survey in Grenada here, and like 80 something% of the Grenadian people is for the legalization of cannabis. So to me, the people already have a lot of information about how important this thing is.
Mhm.
So is basically the law that needs to change, and the people who can do that in terms of changing the law, they need to listen up to the people, because it's we the people is the government, I should say. They should be listening up to the people and taking what we have in terms of the information and go forward in terms of having other people on the panel to discuss what is what what is the do and the not to do in the bill or whatsoever they will try to implement in the later future. So to me, it's just going to the candidates in my constituency to